First thing is a Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch 2. It's finally out. It's been so damn long. As Bad Player said, since 2017. Yeah, 2017 that the first Nintendo was out. That's crazy. But anyways, let's get into it. 30 Switch 2 details. Ooh. Should we watch IGN? Yeah, let's do IGN because they put more details into like the trailer and they'll explain more. Wait, you know what? Let's just watch the first. Let's just watch the one from Nintendo first. Nintendo. I do have the Switch as well. Like, I do have the Switch. Whenever I've got guests at home, like especially my friend. Ooh, so it's bigger. I mean, it definitely did look bigger when I saw like the images on Instagram and that. It did look bigger. So it's using Type C. I think it was using Type C already. Ooh. Ooh, what a sleek design. And does it look a little bit thicker? Ooh. So they're a little bit more rounded at the edges. This is one of the things that my friends, especially because as I said, I have my Nintendo as well in the living room. So when my friends are around, since we're a lot of us and we can't just be in my room, we'll just play Nintendo. And one of the things that we would normally complain is that the Switch controllers are kind of small. So it's like we'll when we're playing, like say Mario Kart or whatever, we'll make mistake and press pause all the time. All the time we'll just be pressing pause, and that shit's annoying. Now that I've made it bigger, hopefully it would solve that problem a little bit. But it looks nice though. I like the black and blue. I even like the black and red. Is it black and orange or is that red? It looks orange ready to me. Or is it pink? Like salmon. Ooh, I love this. I love this. I like it. I like it. I like it. Do you know how many times I have to struggle to like get the damn like press the button at the back just to like drag it out or whatnot? Or when I send my friends that don't have a Switch to like get the controllers, they'll be like, "Oh, how do you get this off? How do you... It's so annoying, but yeah, having this that you just clip them in and you can clip them out, that's really good. That's really, really good. But one thing though, hopefully it clips pretty well. Like it's not like if you're holding it, you can just fall off or anything. I hope it clips well. From the look of the design, it does look like it would go all the way in. That looks nice. That looks nice. It looks nice. It look a little bit more rounded at the edges. At the edges. It's just called Nintendo Switch 2. Okay. Ooh. I like the sound. I like the sound that it makes, the clapping sound. 2025. 2025, but when though? Ooh. That's nice. That's nice that you can literally play the same games. I guess the part where you put the Nintendo cartridges, Nintendo Switch cartridges in, is probably going to be the same as the old Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that's probably why you can, well, you can play the same. Wait, Nintendo Direct when? On February. Okay, so I mean, we'll have to watch it and see what they say then. On Nintendo Direct, we'll watch that on stream. I'll definitely watch it on stream. See what Nintendo Direct is all about. I heard that Donkey Kong as well. The Donkey Kong.
It's finally here. After months of speculation and rumor, Nintendo's new console has been announced.
Just months of speculation and rumor. I swear to God, I've been hearing about Nintendo Switch like 2 years ago. Like literally like 2 years ago, I've been hearing about the rumors of like Nintendo Switch 2 or a new Nintendo Switch.
And it's called the Nintendo Switch 2. It's an understated name to match an understated console. On first inspection, it barely looks any different to a regular Switch.
Is that new Mario? Is that like a new Mario Kart? Because that doesn't look like the Mario Kart I had.
And there's plenty of fascinating details that suggest how Nintendo has evolved its beloved hybrid console. 30 of them, in fact. And we're here to show you them all.
It looks
From a
really
brand new
nice.
face button,
It looks
to
really
whole
nice,
new ways
Chad.
of using the Joy-Con. Here's everything revealed in the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal trailer. The Switch 2's form factor is much the same as its predecessor, just a little bigger. The main unit of the console has grown in size,
A
and the
little
Joy-Con
bigger? It looks quite big to me. Or is it just me?
are taller too. We estimate the entire console is around 15% bigger than the original Switch.
Yeah.
Gone are the brightly coloured Joy-Con of the last generation. Nintendo has opted for a uniform grey across the entire console, which gives the entire device something of a sleeker, Steam Deck-like appearance.
Well, I mean, there are Nintendos, the old version of Nintendos out there, which is just one color, I think. Okay, now I don't know. Now I'm not even sure about what I'm saying.
That's not to say the console is devoid of colour entirely. It pays homage back to the original Switch's bright red and blue controllers with a
So
ring
it
of
is
colour around
red.
each analog stick.
That
This
still
extends
doesn't
to
look
the
red to
inner
me.
edges of both the console unit and each Joy-Con, which not only looks slick, but acts as a colour coding system. Red slots into red, and blue slots into blue.
I mean,
Talking of slots, the
you
Joy-Con
would
no
kinda
longer
know.
slide into place on rail.
I mean, if you're that stupid to not know, I mean, you could put it, I guess you could put it the opposite way, but still, how would you, if you're too drunk? That's the only situation I can see someone putting the controllers the opposite way, is that if they're too drunk, or if it's a kid, or if they're kids or whatnot. But still, I mean, it's quite, when you have, like literally, when you have the Nintendo Switch, just the screen, it's like that, like facing that way. You would know that when you turn the controller, if you want to put the opposite controller this way, it will literally be like that. So it wouldn't go in. So you have to turn it around so that it goes in this side. So it's kind of like, I mean, it should be quite common sense to be able to like put them in. But anyway, that's just me.
Instead, they now directly slot into the device, with a protruding connector on the main unit plugging into a slot on the inner edge of the Joy-Con.
But
While
that's nice.
unconfirmed by
That
the
is nice.
trailer,
That's sick to me.
rumors have suggested that
Yeah, I was thinking it reminded me of Steam Deck, washed out red. Yeah, it does. It does remind. Wait, do you have Steam Deck? I don't have Steam Deck, so I can't do the comparisons. But yeah, it does have that similarity to Steam Deck, like the way it's just like more rounded and that, and the size as well. It looks chunky. Well, obviously not too chunky, but it looks big. But yeah, washed out red, bro. That looks better. That sounds better. Washed out red. It doesn't look red to me. That looked like a orangey, almost orangey than red.
each Joy-Con is held in place
Nah,
using
I don't,
magnets,
but I've seen them.
similar
Oh,
to
okay.
Apple's
Same like me
MagSafe
then. Same
laptop
like-
charging cables. The rear of each Joy-Con features a newly designed trigger system.
Ooh, you see, I didn't notice that. For some reason, when we watched the original, I didn't notice that trigger at the back, and I guess that's how you press it to unclip it. Oh, so now that makes sense. You remember I said before about like, oh, I hope it doesn't fall off or whatnot, because I thought it wouldn't have like that button, like the same function like we had in the old Nintendo, like the button thingy, but. Nah, this one's they've literally switched the button to a trigger and it works the same way. So yeah, I guess it'll be
that
solid.
releases the controller from the main unit. As you can briefly see in the demonstration video published on Nintendo.com,
I didn't see
squeezing
it.
the trigger causes a piston-like component inside the Joy-Con to push the controller away from the console. On the front of the Joy-Cons, we can see that the classic controller layout has been preserved. The analog sticks remain offset, with the left stick sat above the 4 direction buttons, and the right stick below the A, B, X, and Y face buttons. Towards the tops of the controller are the plus and minus buttons, and at the bottom...
Wait, but that is weird. So, I guess you wouldn't use that trigger for like games and stuff.
Is the square capture button on the left and circle home button on the right. Below the home button is a new, unlabeled button. What it does is currently a mystery to anyone but Nintendo. The L and R shoulder...
I thought it was home button, but until they did like a close-up, I thought that was like the home button.
Buttons are exactly where you'd expect them to be, and sitting beneath them are the ZL and ZR triggers. These appear to be deeper and more rounded than those on the Switch, and so will hopefully be more comfortable to use and easier to operate.
So those triggers are for nothing.
The
They're
analog
just
sticks
to
still use a
them.
low-profile design,
Still fine though.
but their faces have a notably smaller inside
Better than
rim
the
radius
small
and
bottom.
thicker, taller rims. This likely is to provide better thumb grip and support. There's no sign of the NFC Amiibo interface on the right-hand Joy-Con.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know if it's just me. I've been using my Nintendo for a while, and I haven't had too much problem with the Joy-Con, like with the joystick. I've seen, it feels fine to me. Like it does its job. So.
But that's not to say it won't be there. After all, the feature was invisible on the original Switch. What does seem to be missing though, is the IR sensor that was on the bottom edge of the original right Joy-Con. Considering barely any Switch games used it, it's perhaps unsurprising to see it cut from the Switch 2. Once again, the internal edges of each Joy-Con controller have SL and SR buttons, indicating that the Switch 2 will still allow players to use each individual Joy-Con as its own controller. The big improvement here though, is that the SL and SR buttons are significantly larger.
Significant. Bro, like I had to buy like a special casing, one of them Chinese special casing where you can you literally stick the joystick inside, and it gives you like a extra button to be able to press the SR and the SL button, and that made it so much better when it comes to just using the joystick on its own. Like, bro, using the joystick on its the Joy controller on its own, bro, you barely can press the SR button. I'm like, what is that? Like, come on, my fingers are fat. I've got fat fingers.
4 times the length of those on the original Switch. They will almost certainly be easier to use.
And they're sticking out more. Like, if you guys can see, they're literally sticking out more. The SL and SR button are sticking out more than in the previous one. Apart of them just being small and literally in a gutter. Like, that was a bad
4
design.
green LEDs that indicate which player each Joy-Con is assigned to has returned, although this time it's on the forward-facing edge of the connector strip, rather than the inward-facing one.
Well,
between the
to
SL
say it has
and
returned,
SR buttons is the
always been
connector
there.
port that links each Joy-Con to the main console unit, but also another couple of interesting components. Mirroring the original Switch, we can see the sync button, which will pair a Joy-Con with the console.
Never used it.
It's the component above the connector
be honest,
that
I've
proves
never
most
used it.
intriguing though. This small, clear lens could well be a laser sensor similar to what's inside a computer mouse. If so, it would mean the Joy-Con can be used like a mouse. The trailer even suggests this, when the Joy-Con skates around with their wrist wrap accessories attached. They literally look like scurrying mice with tails. Talking of the wrist straps, they're back in a newly designed form, with red and blue colors to match the
But why would you use it? Oh, but if you put... Makes sense. Since you can have the screen down, and maybe if you're navigating on like the internet or whatnot on Google, but I don't know who would use Google on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know. I mean, with phones and all these little computers and tablets all out there, I don't know who would use a Nintendo to go navigate on the internet. But hey, if they make it a feature, that means maybe people do use it. So,
internal color splash on each Joy-Con. Moving on to the main console unit itself, the key improvement is a bigger screen. It's not quite the near edge-to-edge panel that the Switch OLED boasted.
Yeah, it doesn't look edge to edge.
Significantly more of the unit than the original Switch's display. What display
like it looks like kind of like a double screen. Like you have like one, like the first big screen that kind of like plays like, oh, you got a bigger screen, but in reality, those are like actually the ages in the screen. So you're like the actual screen that you'll be looking at actually like small, way more smaller. So it's like we've got like look at how thick the borders are. Pretty
Uses
thick.
is currently unclear. While we'd love to see a bright OLED screen, the base model could well use a more traditional LED panel. The top edge of the device is largely unchanged. It features a slightly redesigned power and volume switch, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a ventilation grill that appears to be of a roughly similar size to that on the original Switch, just split into 3 vents rather than 5. The game card slot also remains on the top edge of the console. It's also the only visible slot on the device. Considering the machine is backwards compatible, that means the Switch 2's game cartridges will almost certainly be the same form factor as those used in the original Switch.
Yeah, that's what I said before.
Addition to the top edge to speculate about though. Next to the headphone jack, we can see a USB-C port. What this is for, we're uncertain, as the Switch 2 also has the same bottom-mounted USB-C port as its predecessor for docking and charging. Perhaps there are a range of USB-based peripherals in the work that make more sense mounted to the top of the console. Or
wait, is that the
next
top?
Pokemon
I thought that was on the bottom.
will go fully old school and use a link cable to trade monsters. We're perhaps too excited than we should be to find out what a mystery USB slot does. Alongside the bottom-facing USB-C port are new downward-firing speakers that replace the original Switch's rear-facing speakers. This new position will hopefully ensure better sound quality. The rear of the console sports a brand new kickstand system, which runs the entire length of the console. It does admittedly look a bit flimsy, but the rubber feet on the edges of the console unit itself may be there to help support the kickstand and keep the entire device steady. The kickstand also seems to be able to lock.
I mean, do you guys have the Nintendo Switch? How many times have you guys used the docking one? How many times have you guys used it, take it out, and put it on the ground or on the table, and use just the small screen and like play not from the TV? Like I don't do that, to be honest. Like mine is just docked on the TV the whole damn time. Like it's like, if I can play in a bigger screen, why would I want to play in the smaller screen? Especially if I'm playing with my friends. It's like we use the bigger screen. Like, come on. So it's like, I don't know. Do you guys play while it's docked and you play with your TV, or do you guys play outside? Like you remove it and all that, and you put it on the table. Well, you know what I mean.
Into multiple angles, and one that lies at a much shallower angle that's almost lying flat. As you'd expect, the Switch can be plugged into a dock and connected to a TV. The dock appears nearly identical to the original Switches, but the corners have been rounded off
this you're
to
gonna
match
say
the
it's been
radius of
rounded
the Joy-Cons. Oh, and there's a massive Switch 2 logo on the front of it too. Also mirroring the original Switch is the inclusion of a controller peripheral that the Joy-Cons slot into.
Ooh.
It looks...
And this one is different. I just realized it now because it's going on slow mo. I just realized that it doesn't look like it's got like the full rounded hand, like the normal, like the one from the previous one has. It doesn't have like it's flat, so you can just slide in the new Joy-Con.
Just as uncomfortable as the original version, but hopefully hands-on time will reveal that some improvements have been made.
I mean, I don't really have a problem using like the extra, like to make it like a controller. Every time I've used it, I've been fine with it.
You can't have a console reveal trailer without a game, and this Switch 2 reveal gives us a sneak peek at what appears to be a brand new Mario Kart game.
I thought so.
This will be a bigger, more chaotic version of Nintendo's beloved racer, as the starting line has space for 24 racers.
Damn.
Mario Kart 8 was limited to just 12 racers. Arching over that starting line
It is a
sign
new
that
game
reads,
then. It is a new
Kart Mario Bros. Circuit. It appears to be a whole new, seemingly American-flavored track for Mario Kart, one that appears to make use of a more open space and off-road sections. The clip confirms 10 characters for the roster: Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Yoshi, Toad,
I didn't even realize
Donkey
none
Kong,
of that.
Daisy, Rosalina, and finally, Wario, who can be spotted for just a split second as the screen flips. While brand new games such as Mario Kart were obviously on the cards, it's good to see that old Switch games will be supported through backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
however,
I thought
the
so. I was
reveal
like,
trailer does warn that certain games may not be supported. We suspect that this may refer to games that use peripherals that directly connected to the Switch One's Joy-Cons. Ring Fit Adventure, for instance, required the Joy-Con to be slotted into the ring, and the new Joy-Con design will presumably be incompatible with the old rail system.
Exactly.
But when can we get our hands on this brand new Nintendo console? 2025 is the only date we're given, so sometimes
that's like
12 months.
Probably
we'll
December.
Much more, including hopefully a release date in just a few short months.
I hope so.
A Nintendo Direct is scheduled for April 2nd. Following the Direct,
April 2nd. Well, I thought it was February. I thought it was the 4th of the 2nd of 2025.
Experience.
I really thought it was the 4th of the 2nd of 2025. That's what I thought for some reason. That's what I thought. I thought it was coming, like Nintendo Direct was coming out February. For what? What reason? I don't know. It makes sense that it's coming out April because it's always around that time. But yeah.
A worldwide tour taking place between April and June, started on April 4th in New York and Paris, and then going on to visit cities such as London, Berlin, Melbourne, Tokyo, and Seoul. It is open to all Nintendo account holders, provided you win a ticket via the free-to-enter ballot. Registration for the ticket raffle opens on January 17th. And those are the 30 key details revealed by the Switch 2 announcement trailer. Be sure to watch the trailer itself in full, and for everything else Nintendo and more, stick with IGN.
I mean, still there's not much we got from it, like what the specs are on all that stuff, but it just gives a little glance into what the Nintendo 2 is gonna be. It looks good though. It looks really good. But anyways,